this point right now, it's just going from bad to worse right now with the Flyers. They lose the back-to-back game 4, and they fall down 3-1 in the series as they lose 3-1, no, 3-2 actually, against the New York Islanders. And honestly, this game wasn't as bad as game 3, but the Flyers still, as the same common theme that continues on throughout the series, the Islanders continuing to pounce on the Flyers' turnovers and scoring off of those mistakes caused by the Flyers. And it happened here once again tonight, where we're making sloppy defensive mistakes in our own zone, mistakes where we should be getting the puck out and we don't, and the Islanders end up scoring off of those chances. And offensively, once again, the top guys can't find a way to get going, even though Sean Couturier does pot in a goal, get Ivan Provorov potting in the goal late in the game. But it's still, Claude Giroux, he had many chances in this game, couldn't pot one in. Same thing with Travis Konechny, couldn't pot one in. And the Flyers offensively, they were getting a lot more chances in today's game, especially during that second period after they gave up the first goal. The Flyers were getting their chances offensively. It's just the sloppy defensive mistakes that we're still continuing to make. And the Islanders, every time you make them, it's the game that they feed off of. They feed off your defense making terrible turnovers in your own zone, and they basically feed off of it every time you do it. And it felt like every time the Flyers made one turnover in their zone, the Islanders just kept pressing, they kept pushing, and they kept bringing that momentum forward with them. And every time you see Matt Barzal with the puck, he's basically just allowed to do anything he wants. Like I said a couple episodes ago, like during Game 1, Game 2, Matt Barzal is going to do his thing. He's just that type of dynamic player, but jeez. It just feels like this guy, whenever he's on the ice, the Flyers are afraid to touch him. The Flyers are afraid to just, rough him up a little bit. Make him second-guess himself, because Matt Barzal has all the confidence in the world right now. He's a very special player. The Flyers are making him look like he is the best player in the NHL. And he's putting that fact right there right now. Not saying he is the best player in the NHL by far. No, not even close. But he's making a little bit case right here because the Flyers are making him look like that. But he has the confidence, and the Flyers are not doing anything about it. So, and Barzal, especially during that first period, there was one shift where the Islanders' top line was out there, where one of the Flyers' bottom lines were. And he was literally just skating around, doing these fancy dekes around the defensemen, around the forwards. And it didn't really generate anything offensively, but he was doing these dekes. He was stick handling the puck, going back and forth, wrapping around and all that crap. And the Flyers just couldn't do anything about it. But I do say that this game overall still was better than yesterday's, because the Flyers, oh god, that game yesterday was just terrible. It was just awful. And today was much better. The Flyers just couldn't find ways to bury it at the right time. And they had their chances too. Like I said, Claude Giroux had his chances. Konechny had his chances. Farabee had his chances. A lot of players on this team had their chances tonight. Sadly, both goaltenders in today's game were Brian Elliott and Thomas Greiss. Both coaches decided to go with the backups today during the back-to-back. And both goaltenders, honestly, looked pretty good, especially Greiss. Elliott, earlier in this game, especially in the first period, he was making save after save after save. But eventually the Islanders were going to pot one, and I'm not here blaming Brian Elliott whatsoever. And I know there's going to be a lot of people out there saying, oh, why didn't we start Carter Hart in this game? Brian Elliott is the reason we lost this game. It's definitely not. It's nowhere close. Brian Elliott was one of the reasons the Flyers were in this game to begin with, especially in that first period. And granted, the second goal that the Islanders scored, maybe if Elliott didn't fall over, the puck wouldn't have gone in. He had no chance on that first or that third goal the Islanders scored. Maybe you can make the argument on the second goal as well, but there was also a terrible pinch by one of the Flyers' defensemen on that goal. So I'm not blaming Brian Elliott on this game. The second goal, maybe. But the first and third, no. He had no chance at stopping those pucks. But Thomas Greiss, he was making saves. The only goal that the Flyers got when the Flyers, they got a redirection on him. And granted, look at if you go back to Game 3, look what Tyler Pitlick did. He had guys in front of the net taking away Varlamov's eyes, and he throws the puck onto the net, and it goes into the net, and you score. When Sean Couturier gets his goal in today's game, Justin Braun from the point takes a shot. He has eyes in front of Price, people blocking his eyes, and you get a nice redirection from Couturier. That's something the Flyers, for some reason, just cannot do consistently. They can't get bodies into the front of the net, and they just can't get their shots through, because every time it does look like when we try to take a shot, the Islanders always have their stick in the right lanes. They always have a guy in there to block the shot. They give the Flyers a very tough time, and you have to give the Islanders a lot of credit too. But how much credit can you give the Islanders when the Flyers are just out here stabbing themselves basically in the foot the entire time? Especially in their own defensive end, there was a lot of chances in this game. Like I said, when the Islanders pounce off Flyers turnovers in their own defensive zone, and that's what happened on the first goal in this game. And you go throughout the first period, like I said, it was a 0-0 game. But it was all Islanders in that first period. The Flyers got a little bit of a hot start going. They couldn't get anything by Greiss. They get a power play, and it's the same old story with that. They can't score on it, and it was their only power play of the game. And basically after that power play, the Islanders just went off from there. I think after that Flyers power play, the Islanders outshot the Flyers by 13-1. And the Islanders, I think, throughout the first 5 minutes of that period, did not have a shot at all. So they gained some momentum off of that penalty kill. And you got Brian Elliott out here making save after save after save. Matt Barzal doing his thing out there, just stick handling, can't get all the time that he wants in the world to do anything that he wants. And the Flyers somehow, they get out of that first period, 0-0. And then you go into the second period, it's a little bit more back and forth. The Islanders were more of the hot team coming out of the start, but then this is when more of the turnovers start to happen in the Flyers' own zone. When the Flyers are trying to chip the puck into the air and they can't get it by any of the Islanders' defensemen out of there to jump to get the puck, or it just hits their body. And then you go almost halfway into this period, and then you get a terrible turnover by Phil Myers. And he's doing the same exact thing. He's trying to flip the puck out of the zone. He doesn't get enough wood on it, and one of the Islanders knock it down as Bailey. And then he hands it off to Brock Nelson, who is wide in front of Brian Elliott, and he just snipes it past him to make it a 1-0 Islanders lead. So there's once again the Islanders scoring off of a Flyers turnover in their own defensive zone. And I honestly thought from there the Islanders were just going to roll away with this game, because that's basically the way it felt. But the Flyers, basically after the Islanders scored their goal, the Flyers started to pick up the pace a little bit. The Flyers were getting their chances. They were getting shots on net. I think throughout this entire period, basically since that goal was scored by the Islanders, I think that was their last shot of the period. I think this second period, the Flyers outshot the Islanders like 17-3. And that basically shows you the Flyers did wake up a little bit in that second period. And that does show on the first goal of the game by the Flyers over halfway. I think there was like 5 minutes left in this period. Like I said, Justin Braun takes the nice shot from the point. You get bodies in front of the net. And you get Couturier getting his stick out there to redirect the puck behind Greiss. And he ties the game at 1. So Couturier, he gets his second goal of the playoffs. And he gets the assist from Braun and Haig. And also going into this game too, the only lineup changes were the goaltenders for both teams. Alain Vigneault decides to go with the same lineup. And also before this game, you get a little bit of the tearjerkers. Maybe it was also something to motivate the team a little bit. You got Oscar Lindblom skating on the ice during warm-ups. And that's just... It's amazing right there. That's something, it puts a tear into your eyes. Basically, it's just happiness right there. Seeing him back out on the ice, I think, is basically for the first time since December, skating with the team in warm-ups before a game. He wasn't going to start, but maybe this was something to get the team jump-started a little bit. Maybe to get their energy flowing. And the Flyers, they did have energy today. They did. It was better than yesterday, but they couldn't get pucks by Greiss when they mattered. They couldn't score on the many chances that they get. And he's, like I said, you see Couturier, he gets this goal. And the Flyers, they're trying to chip away right here in the end of the period, and they really can't get anything through. And you go into the period tied at 1 goal apiece. And then in the third period, the Flyers are, I would say, looking like the better team, but this is when more defensive mistakes start to happen. And this is when more of the odd man rushes start to happen. And it kind of gets annoying at this point, because the Flyers get a little bit of a rush going the other way. They can't really do anything to set anything up because it comes right out of the zone. The Flyers will get an odd man rush. They'll dump it in. Puck comes right out, and the Islanders get an odd man rush going the other way. And this happened basically throughout the entire third period. mainly halfway into it, because the Flyers get a rush going their way, can't do anything about it, and then you get Matt Niskanen taking a bad pinch, and he does this twice in this period, and they led to two of the Islanders' goals. Well, both of the Islanders' goals in this period. So he takes a bad pinch, and the Islanders get the puck up into the zone, well, out of the zone, and then you get Jean-Gabriel Pageau, who is breaking by the defenseman, and he gets a breakaway. And with no Matt Niskanen, he is out of the play because he took a bad pinch. That leaves Ivan Provorov, and he's getting beat by Pageau. And he drives the net, puts it on Elliott, and it barely squeaks by him. Elliott got majority of it, but then it fell out, and then Brian Elliott moved back. And then eventually when Brian Elliott falls back, that goes into the net. Maybe it was also another help from Pageau because he was putting his stick in there as well. But the puck goes in and is a 2-1 Islanders lead. And then basically more of the same continues. Not even, like I say, 5 minutes later, Matt Niskanen takes another terrible pinch. And it's Beauvillier with a nice skate pass redirected to Josh Bailey. And then he gets a little 2-on-1 here with Brock Nelson, and Ivan Provorov is basically just standing there, not knowing what to do, not playing the 2-on-1 very well, because he allows one pass to go, and then he allows the other pass to go. It's basically 2-on-1 with Brock Nelson and Josh Bailey, and they're just passing it back and forth. Nelson to Bailey, back to Nelson, and he puts it right by Elliott, and it's 3-1. Matt Niskanen with his second bad pinch, and Ivan Provorov played that 2-on-1 bad. It was very poor position of a 2-on-1. He didn't lay flat on the ice. He was more trying to play the body, and he really wasn't taking away any of the passes, because when you let that one pass go, you cannot let that second pass come back, because that's a terrible position for your goaltender right there. And it was an easy goal for the Islanders. And they go up 3-1 right here, and the Flyers, they're trying their best. They're trying to get back into this game. They're basically trying everything in the world. You get a puck rolling into the slot, and you get Claude Giroux trying to dive for it, and then Greiss gets the glove on it. And Greiss, he was great in this game. He was making saves, but they weren't fantastic, but they were saves to keep the Islanders into the game. And on that Claude Giroux chance, that save was made right before Brock Nelson scored his goal to make it 3-1. So it was timely and key saves by Greiss, which allowed the Islanders to go back into the other way. And it makes it 3-1. We go down to the later stages of this period. The Flyers are trying to set up with the empty net. You get a point shot from Ivan Provorov, and it goes in. And it's a 3-2 game with a minute left. And look what happens right there. You get bodies in front of the net. You take a shot, and look what happens. The puck goes into the damn net. And the Flyers, they've been lacking that a lot in this playoffs. For some reason, they just don't decide to take shots when they should. And also during this game, Jake Voracek made a very nice play in the offensive zone during the third period. He's bringing the puck around. He's doing a little deke right here. Hands it off to Travis Sanheim. And Travis Sanheim has all the room in the world to shoot. And you could also bring the argument to Jake Voracek too. Why is he not taking the shot from the point? But he doesn't. He elects to pass it to Sanheim, who then also elects to probably find a backdoor pass when he should have honestly shot. And that was basically the narrative for the game too. The Flyers electing to pass rather than shoot. Basically, the entire narrative for the entire playoffs at this point. So, Flyers make it 3-2. They call a timeout. And the Flyers, once again, they have trouble setting it up in the offensive zone. And the Flyers are looking like they might get a chance in the offensive zone. There's an icing. They get a face-off. They don't win it. They bring the puck back into the zone. And then it's board played for 15 seconds. And that kills off the rest of the period and the game. And the Islanders, they win this game 3-2. They take a 3-1 series lead. And this is where, honestly, it's starting to set in for me. It's starting to set in that this team is done. They don't have anything left in the tank. They played a better game, a much better game than yesterday, but they still made the same mistakes, those costly turnovers, those bad mishaps in their own zone, which led to a goal in the back of their net. And I know it's the NHL. I know it's very unpredictable, and anything could happen at this point. You can find a team that's down 3-1 in this series, and they'll come back and maybe force a Game 7, maybe even win the series. We've seen teams in the past decade, 2 teams actually, come back down from 3-0 series deficits, and they won the series. But with the way the Flyers are playing right now, just the way they're not performing up to their capabilities, it's starting to settle in for me. It's starting to settle in that this team is done. And that other video is going to come down later on the road whenever the Flyers do get eliminated. I'm not saying they're done right now, but I do feel like they are done. That's just what it's settling into my mind. It is. It's settling right now that this team is done. It's just with the way they're playing. Who knows? They can force a Game 6 when they play Tuesday for Game 5, and then force a Game 6, which would be on Thursday. But I that's the only thing I see. I can only see this team forcing a Game 6, and that's even basically being a little too optimistic at this point with the way they're playing. And I'm not even going to say, oh, maybe they can force a Game 7. But no, I don't see any shot at that. A lot of people were predicting this series to go 6 or 7 games. But more of this, people were predicting this series to be very back and forth because both teams play the exact same way. But the Islanders, they have been a major counter to the Flyers in the way they play. The Islanders, they play with a lot of speed. They are a very fast team. They can finish. They can hit. They can basically do anything, and they can play a great defensive game as well. And the Flyers, they're just making so many mental mistakes. It's the mental mistakes that they're making. And it's costing them a lot, and especially in every game of the series. A lot of goals in this series for the Islanders have been a result of Flyers turnovers. And that's what's killed them the entire series. And right now, like I said, it's settling down for me. It's settling into my mind and my heart that this team is done. That this team has nothing left in the tank. They look gassed. They look tired. They don't want it enough. And the Islanders, they look like the team that wants it a lot more than the Flyers do. So, got to go to Game 5, which is on Tuesday, 7 p.m. Maybe the Flyers can find a way to force a Game 6. I'm not being too highly optimistic. I'm just going, it is as it is at this point. Maybe something happens. Maybe it doesn't. I'm just going to go into this with a clear, even head, even playing field for me. And I'm just going to watch and enjoy hockey, basically, for this point. If anything happens, it happens. For me, like I said, it's already settled into my mind and heart that this team is done. So, what are your thoughts on this game right here? What are your thoughts on the Flyers? Do you think they had a better effort than in Game 3, even though they still lost this game? Do you think there's even anything to build onto this game? Do you still have hope? Is it settling in for you that this team is done? That they don't have anything left in the tank? So don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section. Don't forget to drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And I will see you next time.